Hello YouTube, we're back with that 90 horsepower carburetor we took apart earlier. I soaked it for 24 hours and then I put it through the ultrasonic cleaner for 20 minutes. Let's get started putting this back together and see where it goes. Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you, the O-ring for the needle. If you're doing this for yourself, you see how flat this O-ring is? It needs to be replaced. It's not a usable piece. We're not going to run this carburetor, so I'm just going to put it back together. What would happen by using that O-ring is that the fuel pressure behind the seat, fuel pressure builds up back here and literally seep past the seat, and at idle it might cause you an over-rich condition. So that's why we replace this O-ring if we were going to run this motor. It's just demonstration purposes only. We're just trying to show you guys what you're looking for and how to put these back together the way I like to see them done. Give it just a little tug, nothing crazy. Remember, we're using that socket. Here we have our low-speed jet. We're going to reinstall this. I use this tool. It fits it pretty well. This is a stainless screwdriver. I have ground the tip down to fit into the jet. This tool here fits it extremely well, as you can see. This is a part number 317002, OMC part number 317002. So if you're gonna do a lot of these, you can invest in one of these. Our emulsion tube, as you can tell, it's got a little lint on it. Lint is sticky. At this point here, goes inside the throttle, the body of the carburetor, the throat. That's our stop. A lot of times on a really dirty carburetor, when you pull these out, you're going to find a lot of debris or trash up in this area right here. You have to make sure you get all that out. That's why, to me, it's important to tear this carburetor all the way down as far as you can get it. Okay, now we're going to install our high-speed jet. It's the jet that we use when we're going fast. Of course, high speed, right? I'm going to put a little shot of oil in the threads. You don't need to do this. I do this because I have a high cringe factor. When this screws into here, transfer the screwdriver, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard for me. I'm sorry. Hang on, we have to get the right screwdriver. See how our screwdriver fits in there nice? That'll help alleviate you from tearing the ends off this jet and making it unusable next time. Alright, well, let's find our little rubber plug. There's a little rubber block off plug goes right here. Here's our crappy gasket you should never reuse, but like I said, we're not gonna. I take that back. You can reuse them if they're in good shape. This one is clearly not in good shape. Notice how it's flat, has no roundness to it. If you're doing this carburetor and you wanted the best results, you're going to replace this. I hate to tell you that because it's going to be an expensive job if you're doing it for yourself. Now, sometimes these are hard to get back in their little spots. I like to use grease if I have to put something to hold, make it tacky to stick in. And sometimes, rare occasions, I will use 3M weather adhesive glue, the yellow Gorilla Snot, as we like to refer to it as. You see down the carburetor bowl, I put some light to it. Too much light to it, maybe. What the stink? That sucks, huh? Oh well. See the carburetor bowl? Believe it or not, it's pretty clean. The discoloration, I'm not happy with that, but that's the way it was. We're gonna have to use it. Our float. Now, I threw it through the ultrasonic cleaner only, just to get it somewhat clean. Then I wipe it off with a rag. I'm gonna hold this up to light and check for any type of water inside here. Also, give it a little shake. Nothing's inside this one. This is good to use. Let's put our float and our needle seat in. That clips on just like that. Notice how our float's just about parallel with the base, where the bowl goes in. That's what we want. We want it parallel or just slightly elevated. Our float drop looks good. Now we can install our bowl. Like I said, if we're doing this for a customer, we're going to replace this bowl gasket for sure. This one, to me, is not a usable piece. Our bowl drain, there again, notice it's all clean, no trash or anything inside of it. Basically the way this works, you see the O-ring on it, right? This is designed to drain the fuel without having to pull the plug all the way out. So when you back this off, fuel should be able to drain out of the bowl without this screw being out. Like in this position, we should be able to drain our fuel. And in this one, no leaks. We're going to install our idle mixture screw. We're going to check for pits, a little grooving at the tip. Honestly, this looks very good. We're going to reinstall this. We'll twist it into lightly seats. Right there, see, I'm only using 2 fingers. I'm not trying to crank that. Now we're going to back this out 1.5 turns. I do everything in half-turn increments. It helps me. All right, now we're going to install our top plate. Stainless steel went here. Stainless steel went here. Thin rubber here. Here's something else I'd like to point out to you. See this rubber? See how you can see the imprint from the top of the carburetor? It'll probably be okay, but we're going to flip this over so this is at the top. But normally I would replace this. I'm going to install our cover. So let's look at our specs in our book. It's for the 84 through 9190 horsepower. I'll scroll the whole page in case anyone has this particular motor. Now, here are the C85 specs, which this could be. So basically we're going to stick with the 1.5 turns out that this carburetor had on it. So we'll pick this video back up, install the carburetor on the 90 horse. See you then. Okay, so this is the carburetor we rebuilt earlier. We're going to reinstall it on the motor and go through the linkage. Our fuel line, slide it on the studs. You want to go snug, not too tight. 10 millimeter usually fits all Yamaha carburetors. Okay, we're going to adjust the carburetors now. The first thing we're going to do is take off the throttle rod. Pull the cam back so I can pull the throttle all the way back to dead idle. This is our idle adjustment screw. We're going to count how many turns back before it's not touching the butterfly. I got 2 turns, and I have clearance between the screw and the stop right here for the idle adjustment. We'll install our linkage rod. Loosen up both of our adjustment screws. These are our butterfly adjustment screws. If you notice right here, this is the butterfly movement right here. This is my linkage arm. So I'm going to bring my linkage arm all the way back and my butterfly back. That way both of them have tension on them. I got the screw, that one's all set. Same thing here, watch. I'm going to pull that back. Check our linkage, make sure it moves freely, everything's good. Next step, we're going to put our 2 turns back in on this so that we can start the motor later. Now our final step, we'll hook up the advance cam to the rod. All done. So let's look at our specs in our book. It's for the 84 through 9190 horsepower. I'll scroll the whole page in case anyone has this particular motor. Now, here are the C85 specs, which this could be. So basically we're going to stick with the 1.5 turns out that this carburetor had on it.